Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth. My name is Yeshaya Yisrael of the tribe of Dan of the nation of Israel. This particular teaching, brothers and sisters, will be in regards to the Lamed Hay inside of the future tense. All right, so hopefully, brothers and sisters, people are able to listen, join on, share the video. If you're not able to listen to it live stream now, maybe you'll be able to listen to it later. Okay, now, brothers and sisters, we want to explain where we were at as a review, if you will. All right. In this review, brothers and sisters, we had it to where we were dealing with the aspect of the Lamed Hey verb Asah. Now, the Lamed Hey verb Asah, brothers and sisters, means to do or to make. And we went over it in the past tense. We went over it in another lesson in the present tense. And what we're going to do in this particular lesson is go over it, okay, in the future tense. So, brothers and sisters, without any further ado, we have the Lamed Hey matter, part 3, giving honor and praise to the Creator of heaven and earth. Shalom. The matter of shalom. Shalom. I am glad we are here at this time. To the people who are in attendance, shalom. To them who will be listening to this later, shalom. The word shalom, it comes from the root shalom, which means to be complete. When we say shalom, we are saying peace. This lesson will involve the aspect of the word Asah, shown in a qual stem in the future tense. Now, that what you see right there on the bottom, brothers and sisters, where it says explain, that right there is like a note to myself. All right, so that way we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about with that. Now, any verb, brothers and sisters, that ends with the letter hey is rendered a Lamed Hey verb. And brothers and sisters, all Lamed Hey verbs, all right, have a 3-letter root. In this case, we're dealing with the word Asah, which has the 3-letter root word ayin, seen, and hey. Okay, as we shown in the lesson in the past, you have it to where Asah, the hey becomes the yod when conjugating that in the past tense. All right, and when you conjugate it in the present tense, it takes the aspect of o-eh, o-ah, o-im, and o-ot, as we explained before. Hebrew, we want to emphasize, brothers and sisters, is patternized. All right, so all right, now that's what I mean when I say explain. Next slide, please. The matter with the verbs, future tense and identification. Okay? So, brothers and sisters, what are we looking at? All right, we want to sit there and get the laser point apart. This word here spells the word Ya'aseh. All right, as we see there, Ya'aseh. The word Ya'aseh from the root Asah means literally he will do. Ya'aseh. The future tense is noted by the prefix in the verb. Now, brothers and sisters, we want to sit there and show with the pen what we're talking about. The prefix in this particular verb is shown here with the letter yod. All right? So this is something we want to go over and show for edification purposes. All right? The following prefixes are used in the singular future tense. Aleph. This shows the first person masculine or feminine singular in the future tense. What do I mean by that? Let's take an average future tense word that's used. The word here, all right? Ashub. The word ashub means I will be back or I will return. Now, what I mean by saying this particular part, where you see, all right, we want to show with a laser point in this particular case, right? Aleph. This shows the first person, masculine or feminine, singular in the future tense. All right. So in the case as we see the word ashub, that means I will return. That's a male saying it or a female saying it. That's what that means when that particular aspect. All right. Tau. This shows the second person masculine singular and the third person feminine singular. Yod. This shows the third person masculine singular and the third person masculine plural in the future tense words. Noon. This shows the first person plural masculine or feminine in future tense words. What do I mean by that last sentence where you see the letter noon? Let's take that same word, right? Nashub. Nashub in Hebrew means we will return. So that's either all male saying it or female saying it, or a mixture of males and females saying that. All right, that's what I mean, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, in this particular regard, this is something we just want to point out in that particular case. Okay. All right. So let's go on. Any questions concerning what we went over so far? All right. Are there any questions? Because I want to review real quick what I just explained. Okay. The future tense is noted by a prefix. Now, a prefix, you know, pre means before. All right. So that's before the actual verb itself. Now, the verb that we're talking about, brothers and sisters, in this particular case, all right, is what we're looking at circled in the light blue, or being circled or so in the light blue. All right. Asah, the same word that we've been going over for the past couple of lessons. So what you see there in the red, all right, shown there with the laser pointer, that's the prefix. The verb, brothers and sisters, shows it in that particular case what the root is. All right. Somebody asks, so if the yod is in the front, does this make the word masculine? Yes, brothers and sisters. When you have the prefix in the future tense with the letter yod, that shows that particular verb to be masculine. Now, that doesn't mean that every single word, all right, that starts with a yod is masculine. All right. But when we're dealing with in this particular case is verbs. All right. So hopefully that's understood. Now, one more time. The future tense is noted by a prefix in the verb. The following prefixes are used in the singular future tense. Now, when we say tense, all right, we do know we're speaking of past, present, and future, right? So, with that being the case, brothers and sisters, anytime when you hear somebody speak of what tense, they not only, pardon me, they are not speaking about nouns or adjectives because verbs are action words. So an act is either done, which is the past, being done, which is the present, or will be done, which is the future. So, brothers and sisters, the aspect of how to identify a future tense word in Hebrew is noted by the prefixes. And then as we'll get into the pluralization of it, it will be the prefixes and the suffixes. All right. So, are there any questions concerning what we went over so far? All right, let's go on because we're going to have to come back to this slide anyway. Asah, first person future tense. The ayin, the sin, and the hay again. Asah, the initial root as we see there. The aleph, ayin, sin, and hay. Ese, the verb conjugated in the first person. Now, when we see brothers and sisters, right, conjugated in the first person means I, whatever the verb is. So in this case, the verb being the word asa, right, which means to do or to make. So now in this future tense, we see the prefix as shown there in the red with the aleph. What you see there with the highlighter, or pardon me, with the pointer, and this is the exact same word. It's just that the one on the bottom, I color coded it. Okay. Somebody said mashayak is past. What is mashayak? If I'm even saying the word that you typed in right correctly, brother. Reading something within the comment section here. What definition are you saying of that word mashayak? Like, what's the root of it, or what does it mean in translation? All right. Messiah, the word Messiah, see, this is what we was talking about before in the beginning of this, right? The Lamed Hey in the future tense, right? Lamed Hey verbs are just verbs. A Messiah is a person. A person is part of the noun part of speech. A verb is an action. So there wouldn't be a past tense of a person in that particular regard. Now, the way to say to be anointed, or pardon me, the way to say to anoint in Hebrew, I want to sit there and write this out so that way it can be understood. Because to anoint is a verb itself. That's with the letter mem. Mashak, right? That word right here means to anoint. Okay? Now, hopefully that is understood, right? Okay, cool. Now, let's continue on where we was talking about, all right? Exercise. Now, what do I mean by exercise, brothers and sisters? And that's why I'm glad to be able to deal with the writing part in this particular case. Now, let's look at this, right? An essay. And for some, if we will, for the future, you have within its most ancient form of writing. Okay, so now, brothers and sisters, continuing on. The point in this particular exercise, right? We want to show that this olive that you see color coded there in the red, that's is what we're talking about over here when we say that olive is this shows the first person masculine or feminine singular in the future tense. Now, because there is a first person singular and there's a first person plural. All right, we'll explain that as we go along, okay? So now, That red line you see there is just a divider part with that. The point I'm emphasizing is that this aleph serves as a prefix. The future tense, brothers and sisters, all right, is known by its prefixes when dealing with the singular forms of it. Singular is I, you feminine, he, she. The plural is known by we, you, or they. All right. So we just want to show that for edification purposes. All right. Are there any questions in this particular regard? And by the way, if a person is a man or boy or woman or a girl, all right, they will still say ese means I will do. All right. So that's what I meant by the word exercise. Next slide. We have here Tah'ah'seh. You, the male, and she. Let me explain what I mean by that. Now, what we're looking at here, brothers and sisters, with the laser pointer part, Asah. We want to emphasize and stay on that in that particular regard, okay? We see there, Asah. Here we see Tah'ah'seh, the verb conjugated in the second person masculine and the third person feminine. Now, what we're looking at here, this same word, the tau, the ayin, the sin, and the hay. Tau, ayin, sin, hay is the exact same word. But I wanted to color code it here so that way we could begin to see how the pronoun put as a prefix in front of the root of the word. This is why I keep emphasizing with the root of this being the word Asah. Hebrew is a rooted language. So you may want to take note of that with your pen and paper, that Hebrew is a rooted language. In order to glean something in Hebrew, one has to understand the sheresh or the root of a particular matter. All right. So now, brothers and sisters, when we deal with Tah'ah'seh, the ta we see shown as the prefix. That ta is the prefix. This ta is the prefix. The only thing with the one down here with the laser part is the fact that it's shown as color coded. What is the third person feminine? Remember, we was just talking about this. It says Tah'ah'seh, the verb conjugated in a second person masculine. Right? Second person masculine is you when you speak it to a male. So if I was speaking to a male, I would say Tah'ah'seh, which means you will do or you will make, right? Now, this same particular word, Tah'ah'seh, also means she will do. And this is, brothers and sisters, what I wanted to point out. So let's look at this. Right? Now, that blue line you see there is just to show the aspect of it being separated. Asah is still that root. That doesn't drop out. All right? In this particular case. Remember, I said this particular case for a reason. All right? This tau, who remembers that the letter tau is also a feminine letter in Hebrew? Okay? We went over that in Hebrew lesson number 4, as well as in Hebrew lesson number 6. All right? It's on this channel. So now let's look. You have Tah'ah'seh, and this means she she will do. It also means you will do when you speak it to a male. All right? So are there any questions concerning this kind of subject matter? Any questions concerning this? Let's go on to the next slide. From Tah'ah'seh to Tah'ah'seh'nah, from you to you all. All right, what are we looking at? I want to sit there and show this with the laser pointer parts. You have Tah'ah'seh. Here you have Tah'ah'seh'nah. So let's show brothers and sisters what we're talking about. Tah'ah'seh, as we see, brothers and sisters, in that particular regard. This tau, all right, that you see there now, brothers and sisters, is still going to serve as a prefix. See, once we understand how Hebrew is patternized, it'll become much more easier. This is why I came out with the book called Hebrew is Easy. It's not difficult. It's different, but it's not difficult. Once you understand the pattern of how it works, you begin to see how it flows. All right? So now let's look. Next, you have here Tah'ah'seh'nah. So what are we looking at, brothers and sisters? You have Tah'ah'seh'nah. Tah'ah'seh'nah. What you're looking at right there is you all masculine. You all. I'm gonna have to get better with this. I know, brothers and sisters. All right, let's go back. You all will do. Now this means you, singular. All right. So ta'aseh means you will do, or in certain cases she will do, but we already explained that particular one. And now from ta'aseh, meaning you will do, ta'asu. You may see, brothers and sisters, that hey that we see there becomes a wow. And that's how you show that particular aspect. Now, do we remember, brothers and sisters, I was saying that in the future tense, it is known, brothers and sisters, when you have what? The singular here, the plural here. The pronouns, pardon me, the prefixes, brothers and sisters, is what I was talking about in this particular regard. The prefix here, that shows it to be the future tense, right? Ayin, seen, hey. We still see that. I was saying earlier that the pluralization of the future tense words can be identified by its prefix, all right, as we see here, and then its suffix as we see here. See what we're looking at here on the top, brothers and sisters, all right? Singular. And this one right here, okay? Plural. How do we know this is plural? Is because of this wow that serves as a suffix. Now, somebody was asking in regarding with the letter tau, when is it T or when is it TH? The answer to that is you will find that to be interchangeable. Because if I were to say Asah, if I were to say ata, the meaning is the same. It boils down to whether or not one had the aspect of being able to phonetically say th, th all the time. In order to say a th or th sound, one would have to be able to make one's tongue go up to by where the back of the two front teeth are. And everybody's not able to do that. So some people just say t, without saying th. So that's the situation with the T and the TH sound. All right? Okay, if I understand the question right. Okay, so if a word ends with a U plural, then what is and what's a H singular? I don't understand. Is that a statement or a question, my brother? Okay, we're going to move on. Now, let's go over here in this particular part. All right? When it speaks about the aspects of explanation. That was a question. All right. So if the word ends with a U plural, then what's a H singular? Okay, the H or the hey sound, that would be U masculine. All right. What you see right there with the laser point right there, my brother, that would be the H masculine or the hey. I'm gonna put it like that, or the eight or the hey masculine. All right. No. If a word ends with a U, is it always plural? No. And I want to emphasize this. All right. Word in this should be verb because we're not just dealing with words, we're dealing with verbs. All right. So with a verb, we want to emphasize that. For instance, if I were to, let me answer your question more directly. All right. And I thank you for the question, my brother. So I can, or maybe others who are either now or later will listen to this can also benefit from it. Let's look at what we're dealing with right here, right? Ah, you see that word there? That word that you see there, and I'm gonna show it with the laser part, right, is the word tobu. Tobu ends with the U sound, but it's not a verb itself. It's a word, W-O-R-D, but it's not a verb. So that's the difference that I want to point out in this particular lesson when we're saying the aspect of a verb or the aspect of a word. Okay? So now let's continue on, brothers and sisters, in this regard. So everything that ends with a U is not a verb, even if it's a word. Now, when we're dealing with verbs, when you have the U sound at the end of it, serving brothers and sisters as the suffix, we have it to where, yes, that is the masculine plural. All right, as you see there with the word ta'asu. So now let's go back to what we're looking at right here. And I want to show this for edification purposes. Here you will get the ta sound. Ah, ta'ah. And then you have ta'aseh. Now, brothers and sisters, if this hey, okay, we were to drop that out, replace it with the sound of in the letter of a wow, that's how you would get it from ta'aseh to ta'asu. All right. So ta'aseh means you will do when speaking to one male, and ta'asu is how you would say it when you're speaking to a plural group of people, all males or a mixture of males and females. Next slide, please. The matter of he will do. Now you will notice, brothers and sisters, in these PowerPoints that we're dealing with right here today, right? That the same letter is, because I did was just copy and paste it. All right. Asah, the initial root. And then we go right over here and we see what? Asah, the initial root. That was the point in that, because I didn't want people to lose focus of what we're dealing with in that particular regard. Ya'aseh, the verb conjugated in the third person masculine singular. Now, what are we looking at, brothers and sisters? This yod is color coded in a red. This word, brothers and sisters, spelling the word ya'aseh, is the same exact word as this here. The only difference, brothers and sisters, is that this yod is color coded. I did that so that way we can take it all the way back, if we will, to where we started. Let's take this back, if we will, to where we started, right? Gotta fix that part. What do you mean? Now, Hebrew is easy. The thing is, we just have to sit there and apply to it. Life is easy once it comes down to it. There are rules to it. Hebrew, life, and other aspects, but it's not difficult, it's just different. See, the thing is, once we learn the words that we use a lot, it will, brother and sisters, become a whole lot easier. All right. So that's what it is with that. I wanted to use this word asah, which means to do it, to make, because we use in English the word I did, I will do, you made. We say that a lot. So that's why I picked that particular one. All right. So let's go back to where we were at. Okay. With the aspect here of the ya'aseh and so forth. Right. That's the yod. Nah, I don't want it looking like that. Ya'aseh. Now, as before, okay, this green line just showing it being divided. Now, what we're looking at, brothers and sisters, on the left-hand side, right? With the laser pointer, as emphasized, this yod, all right, shows it to be what? The prefix. It's attached to the verb asah, asah. So that's what we want to point out for edification purposes. Are there any questions concerning what we went over in this particular regard? So if we were to go over and say what? Ya'ase me'oma, he will do something. Now the word me'oma, I want to sit there and write, because we want to talk about something in regards to the masculine and the feminine, right? And I want to make this also yellow. me'uma means something. Ya'aseh me'uma, he will do something. Now, if we know, brothers and sisters, all right, we want to highlight this. But that didn't really work out that well. All right, we want to highlight this in this color here, right? This is highlighted. That under the mem is highlighted as well as this hey. I want to spend time on this for a reason, right? Let's look at this. This Hamas, followed by the hey, shows it in most cases to be feminine. Yet Ya'aseh is masculine. So Ya'aseh me'oma, he will do something. Even though you're speaking of a male, brothers and sisters, you still have it to where it's still said as me'uma. Me'uma. What you're talking about, brothers and sisters, doesn't change in gender because of who you're talking about. That's something we want to emphasize in that particular regard. Okay? Let's go on to the next slide. From Ya'aseh to Ya'asu, he to they. What are we talking about? As we went over before, right? You have the word here, Ya'aseh. Ya'aseh means he will do or he will make. Remember, we emphasizing this in the future tense, as pointed out in the title. He will do. Okay? Now, we're still seeing the ayin. The ayin, the scene in the hay. That, as you can see, has not dropped out unless you're putting it inside of the plural. The word they is a plural word, right? You all is plural. You is singular, you all are plural. Okay? So they is also plural. It's the third person plural. Okay? So now let's look at this, brothers and sisters. Ya'asu. So what happens, brothers and sisters, is this. I'll put explanation. Right? Ya'aseh will become what? Ya. Ya'asu. How will this look when you're reading it in the Tanakh? Is as this. Ya. Sorry. Ya'asu. They will do. Now, this means what? They That's if you're speaking about all males or a mixture of males and females. Okay? Are there any questions concerning this particular regard or this particular regard? With the word Ya'aseh, he will do, and Ya'asu, they. I can't force that one. That ain't gonna work. Are there any questions concerning this? Ya'asu. Ya'asu me'uma. They will do something. Lo ya'asu me'uma. They will not do something. Ya'ase me'uma. He will do something. Lo ya'ase me'uma. He will not do something. So I just want to show by looking at this, you can make whole sentences, brothers and sisters. All right. Let's continue on. Next slide. Now I say the we matter. Okay. We have the noon, the iron, the seen, and the hay. The iron, the seen, and the hay. Okay. I want this to be shown, and I want to circle that. Because that right there, brothers and sisters, is the root. Asah. This noon, all right, that we see here now being circled, serves as a prefix. This is the exact same thing down here, except our friend the noon has been color coded. So this word here, all right, shown with the laser part, laser pointer, as you see here. Now I say, same exact word. But when I put this together, I made sure I color coded it so you can still begin to see what the root is and what the prefix is. Now let's go on. The noon in that word, serving as a prefix, shows that it is we, whatever the verb is with it. So now we went over, brothers and sisters, this particular word before, right? Now, shub. This means we will return. This noon, and I'm going to sit there and put it inside of a red thing for it to be noted. That's the prefix of shub. Now, this is not alamet a verb. This is an ayin waw verb, but I just want to show how it all formulates in the same pattern as far as the prefixes are concerned. All right? So remember we went over nashub. Writing that in here means we will return. Okay? Since asah, as you see here, meaning to do, in root is the verb attached to the noon, the meaning is we will do. This is used by males or females, or a mixture of males and females. Okay, let's go back to the slide that we had done earlier. All right, let's look at this right here, brothers and sisters, for edification purposes. right? Remember when we was talking about this noon that I'm circling here? Noon. This shows the first person plural, masculine or feminine in the future tense words. Remember, tense can only apply the aspect of a verb. So if you say a tense word, you're talking about a verb. Where if you just say word, you're not identifying whether it's a verb or not. Okay? So now, brothers and sisters, this noon, when I say this shows the first person, plural, masculine or feminine, the first person plural in English is we, W-E. All right? So, once understood the aspect of this, it will become much more easier, right? This is used by males or females, or a mixture of males and females. So if a woman and her aunt said Nashub, they are saying we will return, speaking of themselves. If 4 males and 8 females are saying Nashub, they are saying of themselves we will return. Okay? Now, in the case, brothers and sisters, of this word, now I say, what we're seeing, brothers and sisters, is what? Nah, that's the noon. That makes it we whatever. And it's attached or connected, as we shown here. The verb attached to the noon. This verb shub is attached to the noon. This verb asah is attached to the noon. Asah, as we've been going over, means to do. So therefore, na'aseh means we will do or we will make. Are there any questions concerning this particular part, brothers and sisters? This is said by either only males or only females, or a mixture of males and females. Any questions? Next slide. The matter of Tah'ah'seh'nah. Now, the words that you see on the left-hand side of the PowerPoint are all the same word. It's just expanded in one part that's color-coded. Tah'ah'seh'nah. Tau, ayin, sin, yod. Here we go. Noon, hey. Tau, ayin, sin, yod, noon, hey. Tau, ayin, sin, yod, noon, hey. Tah'ah'seh'nah. Tah'ah'seh'nah. Right? The word means you all will do when speaking to solely females. All right? I want to emphasize that. Solely females. Any questions on that? Now, you all will do. That's the second person. The word also means they will do when speaking solely about females. So they is the third person. You all is the second person plural. They is the third person plural. So now getting back, brothers and sisters, in this regard, they and you all. But as we can see, it's the same exact word. Therefore, we might want to, when we're starting off with this, right? you have Aten. Shuvadia, if you're able to hear me. Mahamuban Hamila Aten. Shuvadia, if in the chat, if you're able to hear what I'm saying. What does the word Aten mean? Thank you. You or feminine. And here we have Hain. Mahamuban Hamila Haze. What is the meaning of this word? Hain means what? Suvadia. Type it into the room if you're able to hear what I'm saying. Thank you for your assistance with that. They feminine. Thank you. This is the point. So whether you're saying it as Tah'ah'seh'nah, which is the same thing as Tah'ah'seh'nah, it means you all will do when speaking in the second person, or they will do. All right. So let's see what's going on in this particular regard. Right? You have Aten. You can connect it to this one. Then you have Hain. You can connect it to this one. So let me just pick two female names, right? Abigail Wagam et Deborah. Abigail and Deborah, right? Abigail Wagam et Deborah. Tah'ah'seh'nah hadabar. Which means what? Abigail and Deborah, they will do the thing. Now, if you're naming names of females, you may not, brothers and sisters, need to sit there and put the aspect of the pronoun. If you not naming the names of females, and you were to just speak and say Tah'ah'seh'nah, those familiar with the language will be wondering, are you saying what? They or you all? That's why using the pronouns, as been pointed out in lesson number 24, you may want to go back there if you don't know the pronouns. Lesson number 24, we went over the pronouns, all right? So, brothers and sisters, let's look at this right here. The Hey and Asah, color-coded there in the red, when conjugated in the second and third person plural, feminine, drops and a yod is in its place. Tah'ah'seh'nah. So this yod, shown circled, takes the place of the hey. And well, the word Asah isn't even on here, but I'm gonna write it in. All right. We have its initial root is the word Asah. Now, the hey and Asah, oh, we do have it right here. When conjugated in the second and third person plural, drops. Are there any questions about this particular aspect right here? The part on the right-hand side that is circled or squared, if you will, in the black. Are there any questions concerning this? All right. Asah in root. The hay will drop out and the yod comes in its place. Now, brothers and sisters, let us explain something else. All right. And I wanted to sit there and erase all of that for reason and purposes. You see this word Tah'ah'seh'nah? This, brothers and sisters, all right? This noon with the hay that you see there at the end, serves as a suffix, SUF, abbreviated, all right? That's the suffix, the noon and the hay. Tah'ah'seh'nah. This is why it was important to follow along whether anything was written or whether anything was stated. It just holds the same amount of weight. Things that are said but not written in shows just as much importance as the opposite. Things that are written but not said. So anything you read in this presentation or anything that you hear in this presentation holds the same amount of weight. And if you remember when we started, I was saying that the future tense is known by its prefix inside of the singular form and by the prefix and suffix in the plural form. Okay, are there any questions about that particular part? That's very important. If I'm teaching, I don't have two daughters. But if I were to have, say, I got a little girl, she's 12, right? So if I were to talk to my daughter and another female, and I'm speaking to them about themselves, about what they will do, I would say, Tah'ah'seh'nah told, you all will do good. If, say, I would be speaking to a female or a male about females, if I'm speaking now in the third person, I would say, Tah'ah'seh'nah told, they will do good. So this is something we want to emphasize with the aspect of the masculine and the feminine, with the plural and the singular. Next slide, please. Acknowledgements. Now, giving honor and praise to the Most High, the creator and the maker of heaven and earth. And speaking in regards to a certain extent about the feminine in Hebrew, right? I wanted to make this slide right here, right? And what do we see here, brothers and sisters? Ima Naami. She was a person since I was a child who tried to influence and did influence me into learning the language. You understand? So I want to pay on a human level respect in that particular regard. Also, Ima Ketura, a person that is a very, very good teacher of the language. Everyone you see listed on the left-hand side of the PowerPoint are all females, and all of them are grown women. All right? Ima Ketura, actually, all the women that you see there listed were friends of my mother. May my mother rest in peace. But getting back into this right here, we have Ima Miriam. This is a woman who I knew and I gave her respect in a book that I wrote called Hebrew is Easy. Because I remember ever since I was 8 years old, we're talking over 30 years ago, I was always able to approach her once it came down to learning something and wanted to talk about something in a language. Ima Tamikia was a person that I met in a congregation called Hashaba as a child. And I remember being in Hashaba, they had a Hebrew class called the Kita Sika. And in that class, I remember she was part of the team of teachers in that. I remember seeing that when I was a child. You understand? So now, then there's Imadina. She's a person that I knew also. I knew all of them since I was a child, but also since I was a child, and her Hebrew she speaks is like her English, flowing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, okay, this is what it is. See, Hebrew, as we want to sit there, all right, is easy. It's different. Yes, it is different, but it is not difficult. Are there any questions concerning this kind of subject? Any questions concerning this kind of subject, brothers and sisters? Somebody asks, Oh, okay, that was the question I asked. All right, we want to look at this here on a human level, giving respect as stated to Ima Naami, Ima Keturah, Ima Miriam, Ima Tamikia, Ima Dina. Kol Hanashim Ha'ele. Asel Hem Azru Oti. Lada'at Ibrit. Wagam Kem Bayamim Ha'ele Lelamed Ha'ibrit. Ani Ode El Eloheinu. Lanashim Ha'elu. Wagam Kem Kol. Hamorot Bachayai. Wagam Et Kol. Hanashim Ashel Hem Nek Hu Oti. La Asot Tadabar Haze. Bayamim Ha'ele. All right. So, oh, here, this is a person that, all right, somebody wrote, I constantly learn more Hebrew from Ima Keturah, hands down. Something told me I knew who Shavadia was. Ima Dina, Gam Kane, yes. Okay, and this person went to somebody's alias as far as Mo, also known as Garrett Basheba. All right, while we're talking about this particular subject, I know who exactly Shavadia is talking about. When I was 15 years old, I remember we was in Virginia, right? And this is a particular person's wedding. I ain't gonna get too personal and name and all of that, but Garrett Sheba and myself, we had went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth in the language. And I remember Imam Basheba telling me, one day you'll become a Moray in it, who knows? Then come to find out, you understand? When I get the more push from Imam Naami, as mentioned, as you see in the PowerPoint here, it was just hands down at that particular point. I counsel with these people that you see mentioned there, you understand, in order to gain understanding on how to teach the language. All right? There will not be any advertisement of the book in this one because we're getting into the Sabbath. So that's what that is with that. All right? I thank people for not talking about donations and a donation button tonight. We ain't going there. Okay? We just want to sit there and just drop off this lesson for edification purposes. Had it not been these women here, I would not have been a Hebrew teacher. So that's why, while people, like I keep saying, respect a brother enough to even want to listen, to subscribe, share, and help and moderate, and so forth and so on, you got to give respect where respect is due. Now let's look at our friend here, brothers and sisters. Right? Pen. Shuvadia, if you can hear me. What letter is this here that I just wrote? If you're able to hear me, anyone, what letter did I just write there in the PowerPoint in black? Hey, now in script form Hebrew, we see it as so. In ancient, we see it as so. Right? They're all the same letter. This letter here is a feminine letter. You understand? The moderator, may the Most High continue to bless her life. The sister Dami, she's the one who makes the PowerPoints look the way it looks in the background and gives me counsel and advice and saying, do it like this, work on this, deal with it this way. You understand? The other moderator that we see here, the sister Mika, she's the one that is the one online saying share, 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 share. And so when I happened to see the Facebook page, all the classes I've been doing, I was like, wow, it was shared. So it wasn't something that was just said just to sound nice. So you see, you give respect where respect is due, brothers and sisters. Now, the letter Hey, we want to emphasize, right, is a feminine letter. In Hebrew, brothers and sisters, in what is called here, the Hefil stem, right? Let's look at this right here. What you see being written right now, right? Hefil. This is a verb stem, brothers and sisters. Now, let's look at this right here. And I want to sit there and circle certain things. All right? I'll use the red. This pay, this iron, and this lamed. Hefil. Right? Pa'al. Or fa'al, but we want to say that's pa'al, right? Means to act. Pa'al means to act. A verb, right, is an action word. So when we see Hefil, brothers and sisters, Pa'al, as you see there circled, right? We want to just put it right over here as well. Pa'al means to act. Now that's a verb. Pa'alti, I acted. Pa'alnu, we acted. Ef'al, if we were to put it in its future tense, right? Brothers and sisters. Now remember, in this aleph, serving as a prefix, ef'al means I will act, or I will, loose terms, do. But the word pa'al more so means act. All right? Just as much, brothers, sisters, this word here. No, we're not doing that. Right? Pay, pe'ula. What does the word pe'ula mean, brothers and sisters? The word pe'ula means what? Anybody? Pay, ayin, lamed. Tuvadia. Imata shomea oti. Aki, if you hear me, my brother. Mamuban hamila pe'ula. What is the meaning of the word pe'ula? Anybody? What does pe'ula mean, brothers and sisters? What we're doing right now is just showing how Hebrew works, boom, 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 patternized. See, somebody stated by saying to me in the comment section here, I thought you said, or you said Hebrew was easy, LOL. Now we're going to sit there and show, blessed be the Most High, how Hebrew is easy. And then we can sit back and laugh, thinking that Hebrew wasn't easy. And I say that in humor and in jest. All right? The word pe'ula means work or action. Right? So that's something we want to point out, brothers and sisters, for edification purposes. So what can we point out? Pay. We want to deal with this with the laser, right? Pay, ayin, lamed. Pay, ayin, lamed. Pay, ayin, lamed. And as we've been pointing out, that letter hey is a feminine letter. And you need that feminine letter as a prefix in this hif il. Hif il. You get the H sound from the hey with the kirik. That is an effeminate identification. What are we saying in Hebrew thought? Things happen by the feminine principle in Hebrew. I want to type this in capitalized for edification purposes. All right? Things happen in the Hebrew way by the feminine principle. Not the masculine principle, and this is not hating on males. I'm a male. You understand? My dad was a male. You understand? So, but what we're talking about is the aspect of this here when it says things happen in the Hebrew way by the feminine principle. The hif il stem. All right? Brothers and sisters, is the causative of the qual stem. Is the hif il stem. Without the hif il stem, which is formulated from what you see in there with the laser, Hebrew would not have a structured tense system. Because you got to cause something to be in order for it to exist. You understand? Let me explain how that works in edification purposes. Right? We've been saying that this letter hey is a feminine letter. Right? Okay. Now, we've been saying, brothers and sisters, that this word here, pa'al, the verb, means to act, A-C-T. Now, we see hif il. Hif il. This is a verb stem. The hif il is the causative. First time I wrote a kuf on this, huh? Of the qual stem. All right? Kuf and lamed, qual. That is your pa'al. That's the qual stem, for instance. Asah. That's a qual stem. We went over the word nashub. That's a qual stem. But this he feel that we want to sit there and show. And I'm going to try to pick the most feminine color I can find on this. That'll still sit there and blend pretty well and circle this. The he feel stem is the fifth stem of the seven stems. It's the causative of the qual. And not to be redundant, without that stem, there will be no Hebrew verb patterns. Brothers, anashim, men, achim, brothers, zakari, males. What am I saying? In Hebrew, the feminine principle is how things cause to be in existence. Okay? So that's something I want to point out in that particular regard. See, qual itself means easy. That's the verb stem. Easy things are caused to be by the feminine principle. Things don't happen with the masculine principle in Hebrew thought. And I want to drop something, and this is not to get into esoteric stuff. Do you know in Genesis in the Bible, in Genesis chapter 1, it says, Bereshit bara Elohim, et hashamayim wa et haaretz. Then it goes over to say, wa ruach Elohim bara kefet. The Spirit of God hovered over the face of the waters. Do you know that ruach, merakefet are two different words? Ruach means spirit, right? That's the word ruach, brothers and sisters. The word merakefet is a feminine word, brothers and sisters. So the Spirit of God shown in the book of Genesis, when you show it with a verb attached to it, is in the feminine. In the book of Zechariah, the Most High said, not by strength, not by might, which is more so masculine qualities, no offense to females. The Most High said, not by strength, not by might, but by my spirit. That's the same spirit that we see, brothers and sisters, in Genesis. The Spirit of God in the Bible in Genesis is identified in the feminine. That's what the language is showing. You understand? So the whole concept of down in the female and they don't have no place and so forth and so on, that's not true. And the women that you see there listed on that sign in this PowerPoint, Ima Naami, Ima Keturah, Ima Miriam, Ima Tamikia, Ima Dina, as well as what the brother Shuvadia pointed out, Ima Bathsheba, all of them and even more females is the reason why we see these classes going on today. Giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the one whose name we come in when we deal with these classes. I say shalom, lala tov, Shabbat, saf laken. Earlier, somebody had typed in the thing and said Shabbat shalom. My response was Shabbat sas. Sas means happy. All right? I just want to point that out. And I'm going to spell that word right here real quick. Sas is two scenes next to each other, spelled out, right? The word sas means happy. So when I responded back and said Shabbat sas, I'm saying happy Sabbath. That's what I'm saying. Most times when you hear happy, you think of the word sameach, which is not wrong, but I just wanted to build our vocabulary while we continue in this kind of regard. Shalom lakem lalato. Are there any questions? Please feel free, text or call 908-587-4841. All right, leave a voicemail or text 908-587-4841. Shalom lakem, brothers and sisters. Any questions or comments, please put it inside the chat. Thank you so much. Questions or comments? I stepped away. See if there's any. All righty. The only one that's left there is the word shalom. Shalom to you too, Mika, and everybody else. Lala told.